We talked about the success of Miami, but not everybody had a successful transfer portal window. So it's that time of the show that we look at maybe some winners and some losers of this transfer portal cycle. And for that, we welcome on our friends and National College Football reporters, Carl, Reed, and Smoke Dixon. Thank you so much for being here. Let's start with Carl. Who is a winner for you this cycle?
The winner for me, I'm going to continue the trend, is the University of Miami. Mario Cristobal had big needs offensively. He addressed them. Cam Ward, the jewel of the transfer portal, no matter what side it was on. Cam was a guy that was coveted by multiple schools as their starting quarterback, flirted with the idea of going into the National Football League. Mario was able to come in and get the deal closed, and no matter how anybody feels about it, he's been a leader. He's led them throughout spring ball. Unbelievable addition, and should lift their offense up immediately. Obviously, adding Damian Martinez, the running back from Oregon State, also takes the offense to another level, in addition to guys like Sam Brown from the University of Houston. Super Mario has done his thing. He's been a legendary recruiter for a very long time. Everybody knows about his relationships. Has always been great at building and developing offensive linemen and getting his team to play very tough defensively. Now, with those weapons on the offensive side of the ball, Miami finally has the pieces that they need on that side to match what they've been in the past defensively and with the offensive line. I'm excited to see what the Miami Hurricanes put out on the field this season.
Well, Carl, man, great answer. But I'm shocked that you didn't go with your squad. I'm going to go with Colorado. And what they did was an awesome job in the spring window of understanding what the spring window is. A chance to supplement your team with depth, but also get just a fresh air of young players, but also some veteran guys too. So what they did, they went through and they combed through their depth chart and understood players that they were going to lose, but also replaced them with depth, but better at that position. We'll start out at the running back position. When they got the flip from Mississippi State, big, thick running back with the ability to get down here and run, and that's Rashad English. That guy averaged 5 yards per carry, and he's a factor in the red zone. Getting some news with Dallin Hayden. Now, as a freshman, he did an awesome job of getting 5 yards per carry, but he left Ohio State with the understanding that he needs a fresh air and somewhere he need to go to get developed more and get the opportunity to play. Now, what they did, they probably listened to me a little bit on the transfer portal show. They went and got young offensive linemen with Zach Owens from Clemson and Peyton Kirkland, two massive offensive linemen with the ability to get developed within their program, understand what their culture is, and get better along the line. So when they do have those older guys leave out in the portal, they'll have those young, massive people movers that come in. And they didn't finish. They went on defense. And they understood what they needed on defense. They needed an interior guy to get that pass rush, getting upfield and being disruptive. And they got that with Rayon Buell, a guy out of Ohio that had 4.5 sacks, a highly disruptive guy. Now they understood that they need to get some pressure on the edge. So they went out the pit and got my man, Dayon Hayes. 29 hurries, 4.5 sacks, a guy that can set the edge in terms of and run, but also has the ability to bend and be an aggressive pass rusher with the speed, the power. But also, when we talked about it, they needed some help in the secondary. So they get down to Auburn, got Colton Hood, a young guy that needs some time on task. You see all the traits that you're looking for in terms of twitchiness, speed, coverage ability. But the more you get that guy going and give Travis a little time off, and because he's playing both ways, and get a third corner in there to help him out. Now, what do you need else in the middle? You need a guy in the middle. Akai Hill Green. That guy's played a ton of football. He come in, he's a veteran, set the tone, be able to make all the calls, and he has the experience to get them to where they need to go. So they fixed it on defense and offense with youthfulness, but experience with guys that can go in, line up, and play, but also have some development down the line.
I love that you pointed all of that out, because I feel like sometimes Colorado gets more headlines for the guys that they lose, but they brought in 34 players in this cycle and a lot of impact guys that we'll be seeing a lot of this fall. So I appreciate you laying all that out. Both great picks. I hate to do this, though. It's winners and losers, which means that we got to point out some losers here. Smoke, you're shaking your head, but I'm going to make you go first. Who is a portal loser this cycle?
Well, Emily, the portal giveth, and the portal taketh away. So back in December, my loser, Iowa. They lost Caden Proctor in the spring. And they lost it both ways. They lost it in the space of Caden Proctor figuring out the loophole of bouncing back twice and getting real nice and going back to the school that he started. But when you're Iowa and you're sitting there and you have one of the top premier players at that position, at the left tackle position, that's one of the positions that when you have one that come in, you understand that he's going to be a placemaker. And he's going to be able to sit there for 3 years and be able to go into the NFL draft and protect your blind side. And when you lose that, regardless of where it is, that's a hole that you have missed. So Iowa missed on the understanding how to secure the NIL bag to one of the prominent players, but also lost out on one of the better players in college right now.
Smoke, that's a big loss for the University of Iowa, no doubt. But I'm going to tell you who my loser is. The group of five as a whole. Group of five coaches are out on the road recruiting right now, Smoke and Emily, and they're going into high schools and they're talking to people, and they absolutely positively know they are recruiting players that are going to ultimately end up on somebody else's team. How do you feel right now being a group of five coach, knowing anytime one of your guys is first team or second team all conference, somebody is going to come in there with a bigger bag. They're going to spend more money. They're going to go after your guys. Guys are ending spring games and getting in the portal. Guys are being enticed by other schools. Every Power 5 school right now has a board of Group of 5 and FCS players on their wall right now, and they are evaluating and scouting your team to take your best player. Guys like Trey Moore, who left UTSA to go to Texas. Guys like Caden Woolard, going to Oklahoma from Miami of Ohio. Marcus Harris, C.J. Daniels, Joey Slackman going to Cal, LSU in Florida. Group of 5 schools right now in this day and age have almost no opportunity to keep the players that they recruit, identify, and develop, because they're going to always end up leaving because the money is becoming too big at the Power 5 level and they want their piece of the pie. So the biggest losers for me in the transfer portal era are the Group of 5 coaches, because they're out right now working their butts off in recruiting for players that they will never be able to retain.
Carl, I obviously want your thoughts on the proposed Group of 5 playoff, but you mentioned the recruiting and walking into high schools and what's the pitch. How do you think just the proposed idea of creating a G5 playoff affects their ability to recruit?
I don't think it changes what they can do in recruiting, but I do think that it helps them be competitive in the season. We have to stop acting like it's the same thing. The MAC is not playing the same game that the Big Ten is playing. The Sun Belt Conference is not playing the same game that the SEC is playing, and the gap is growing wider because of NIL and the transfer portal. I definitely think the Group of 5 needs their own playoff that's away from the power conferences.
Man, Carl, that great answer. But all you're doing is enticing those guys to play more games to get better. So now all they're doing is upping their development to go off to the Big Ten, SEC, and other conferences that's going to pick them up. I just believe that at the end of the day, what we're looking at is it's a broken system. Because like you said, going out on the road and doing your due diligence of getting the players in your building and you developing them, you're never going to see those guys get to the level that you want them to. And you're going to end up just losing them all out. So playoffs or no playoffs, the max in is no more, because those Tuesday games, you can't even watch anymore. They're becoming unwatchable because the really good players are leaving.
I'd like to think there's maybe some trickle-down effect, though. There's rosters that need to be filled out, so maybe some Power 5, and you're shaking your head, or moving down to the Group of 5. Carl, have you seen that at all?
Well, there are going to always be some players at the Power 5 level that don't play, that end up having to transfer down and play. But as soon as they come down and fix their game, they just made the rule that you can transfer limited, so they try to jump right back up. It's just a revolving door. I don't understand how Group of 5 coaches are sleeping at night. I know most of them aren't, because of the calls that I get. And so it's got to be a really tough time to be a coach at that level right now.
Yeah, we also saw a handful of Group of 5 coaches move to the Power 5 level in different roles, specifically at the University of Alabama. They have a lot of former G5 coaches on that roster. Thank you both so much for giving us some winners and losers of this transfer portal cycle. As always, you can check out more of their work right here on the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel. Make sure that you are subscribed, turn on those alerts so you don't miss a thing.